Hi guys, I'm back with another video. Today's video is going to be Lost Media Category 33, Wheel of Fortune, Partially Lost Test Pilots of Merv Griffin Game Show 1970s. So let's get into this Lost Media. Wheel of Fortune is a game show based on the game Hangman and first premiered on NBC on January 6, 1975. The show was created by talk show host Merv Griffin and hosted by singer Chuck Woolery. I think I'm saying that right. And co-hosted by Susan Stafford, weatherman Pat Sajak, and actress Vanna White. Would take over hosting duties and still host the show as the writing of this article with a syndication version of the showing airing new episodes since 1983. The show would become a huge success for many decades to come, with various merchandise and international versions of the show being created. However, prior to the show's debut in 1975, it had a rocky development, with the show almost getting scrapped due to various bad decisions being made during development. So, the pilots, a run-through. At some point in the early 1970s, Merv Griffin recorded a run-through of the show's format, which was similar to the format of the show's run on NBC. 3 players must solve a puzzle that relates to a person, place, or thing. Excuse me, I burped. They must try to solve the puzzle while spinning a wheel, with various dollar amounts ranging from $5 to $500, with some space labeled lost, turn, buy a vowel, and free spin, which gets added to their score depending how many of their chosen letters appear on the puzzle. The first player to solve the puzzle gets to bank their winnings. Shopper's Bazaar. On October 8, 1973, a pilot for the show was recorded and titled Shopper's Bazaar and was hosted by Woolery. It was somewhat similar to the format of the NBC version, only this time the wheel is spun on its own, and players have to stop the wheel to determine what dollar amount their letter choice will earn them. Prior to the game, the 3 contestants choose which prize that they want to buy at the Shepherd's Bazaar, and money they earn through the game will go to the bank of that prize the contestant is playing for. On the wheel is a space labeled Your Own Clue, in which if the space is landed on, the contestant who landed on it would get a private clue by phone. The first which was the category. The player with the most prizes won goes on the Shepherd's Special, in which players is given their own puzzle and shown the available vowels in the puzzle, and they are given 30 seconds to guess the contestant was in the puzzle and solve it. The pilot was screened for a test audience and head of NBC daytime Lin Bolden, and the results were very negative, with the main consensus being that the gameplay was slow and executive was bad. Merv would later call the pilot garbage and wrong. I kinda have to agree. That doesn't sound like the Wheel of Fortune we all in love and see today every day at, you see Wheel of Fortune. You see it every day on TV around 8 p.m., I think. Well, that's when I start watching wrestling, so I'm not watching Wheel of Fortune, but, yeah, that doesn't sound like the Wheel of Fortune we know and love, and I don't like the version I just read. So let's go to the second version. Edd Byrnes. On August 28, 1974, 2 more pilots for the show were recorded. and the format was now more in line with what aired on NBC. Wood was replaced by Grease actor Edd Byrnes, and the format was reworked with the three contestants now having control of the wheel, and Stafford was brought in as a co-host and later Turner. The format remained the same, but with bankrupt space being added to the wheel, and shopping round was added to replace the pre-show prizes where the contestants who solved the puzzle around would go shopping for prizes on display. The Shopper's Special round was removed, but would later be briefly revised several times during the show. First three on NBC, with one time known as Star Bonus, before becoming completely revised into the bonus round, where we knew today in 1981. The pilots were screened again for a test audience in Bolden, and the results were also negative, with the consensus being that the new set designed by Ed Flash was too busy and the sound effects were too noisy. Despite the negative feedback, Bolden decided to push for the show to be greenlit regardless of the consensus, being if the show failed, she would be fired, but if the show's success, she would get a raise. NBC picked up the show 3 months later, and Barnes was fired as host due to being drunk during the recording of the pilots, and Worley was brought back, and the rest is history. So, I guess the second pilot was a lot better than the first one, and it's like the Wheel of Fortune we know today, but it had a negative reception with test audiences. But at least the guy who pushed for the show to be aired on TV got it aired on TV. Of course, the second part of it I don't agree with, but he got fired for being drunk, and he shouldn't have been drunk in the first place. But what are you gonna do? Okay, what is the availability of these episodes? Because of the rough development, the show had been in a debut. The pilots become rarity to fans of the show. Footage of the show's run-through with Griffin was unknown to exist until 2017. Documentary Game Changers, when some snippets of the run-through footage was shown. Exactly when the run-through was made is unknown. A July 1974 article by Rarity reported on the show's development before the last two pilots were recorded, which calls the show its original title, Shopper's Bazaar, and was only published documentation of the show's development before the True Hollywood Story episode on the show in January 2005. Prior to its resurfacing, only production photos and accounts of those who saw the Shopper's Bazaar pilot were only things of the pilot to be found. 3 minutes of the pilot were uploaded to YouTube by user Kookah on May 31st, 2012. 3 years later, December 17th, 2015, user D_Andy uploaded the full pilot, which can still be viewed today. Photos of the last pilots were used for the show's promotion, and clips of the first pilot were shown in syndicated version 3000 episode in 1998. The first 10 minutes of the second pilot was uploaded to YouTube by GarryMooreFan. The first pilot was also being uploaded not long after, and while it's since been taken down, mirrors of the first pilot can be found online. The rest of the second pilot has yet to resurface. So, there's a couple videos for Shopper's Bazaar pilot, pilot number 1, pilot first 10 minutes, and an updated run-through. Now, I'm not going to show off these videos because they're way too long, and this video is already long enough as it is. If you guys want to see these videos, I'll put a link in the description of this article. And that is Lost Media Category 33. Wheel of Fortune partially lost test pilots of Merv Griffin game show 1970s. And if you guys like this video, please like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace, period.